From the moment you get to Oxford, you sort of feel that this is a special place, a unique place, because the whole vibe of students coming from libraries going straight to nightclubs and going back to the library afterwards, and the sort of, surrounding the surreal atmosphere that's in the city is kind of like, draws you in from the first minute, really. Hi, my name is Paul. I'm a final year student here at Oxford, studying philosophy, politics and economics, and I'm originally from Germany. Because Oxford has this weird structure of having 8 weeks of term and then just a very long vacation, everything happens in those 8 weeks. So I wouldn't say I have a typical day or a routine that I follow, but I tend to be in the library by 9 a.m. So I wake up at 7:30, 8 to get a coffee before, and then spend basically the whole day until like 2 p.m. in the library. Then I get my lunch, usually in one of the small cafes around the libraries. And then the afternoon is basically back in the library or extracurriculars. So you meet up in different coffee shops, talk to people about their projects, how things are working out on certain projects that you're doing together, and have a bit of social time as well. And then back to the library till usually about 10-ish, 9:45. I wanted to bring you guys to this spot because it's where I spend most of my time at Oxford, and definitely the best bit of my time in Oxford. It's the Ratcliffe camera behind us, which is officially a history faculty library, but it's part of the bigger network of the Bodleian Library, which is Oxford's central library, and it's definitely the space I spent the most time reading books, freaking out about essays that I had to hand in the next morning, and meeting friends. So definitely this was the spot I enjoyed most in my time. I might be a bit of a sort of super academic, whatever, really boring person, but what I really enjoyed most was having a stack of books and a lot of time, and knowing I would have to write something about this, make up my own mind about this. It's kind of daunting because you see all these big names and you're a bit intimidated by the whole situation, but knowing that you can do it and that you can actually say something interesting about this was the greatest experience. In my 3rd year, I started taking a paper on Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics and discovered that the tutor was actually a name that I'd read 100 times on my reading lists for Plato and other papers. And he happened to be one of the biggest persons in ancient philosophy, Dominic Scott. And it was at first intimidating to write papers and know he's going to read them properly. And he did read them very rigorously and made comments about my grammar, a lot of them, and it was very scary at first, but I really started to love that paper and love that course because I really felt like I was taken serious by someone who's extremely well known on the field and who's extremely capable, who's now really interested in what I'm saying. And yeah, it's a scary experience, but it's also great to know that you've really done something worthwhile once you get out of your tutorial. The tutorial situation that you have one professor and one student in a room discussing one topic for a whole hour is something that's completely unique, I think, to Oxford and Cambridge maybe. Having studied PPE here for 3 years, I think what it's really about is, on the one hand, the sort of the theoretical, rigorous knowledge that you learn throughout the course, but also the sort of practical, the histories of conflicts or the histories of current affairs. Alongside that, I've also been doing a journal called the Journal of Interrupted Studies, which I started with my good friend and housemate Mark Barclay, which basically tries to publish articles by academics at risk, refugee academics who had to leave their home, their countries, because of war, because of climate change, for various reasons, and who want to continue publishing their work because that's what they do for a living, but can't finish articles. And what we do is we try and publish them and thereby create a platform for these academics to highlight the potential they have, the academic integrity, the knowledge that's actually coming to Europe as well throughout the migration crisis, but also to highlight on the other side that a lot of these academics cannot continue their work because of legal restrictions or because universities are quite slow in integrating them. And that project has been very important for me personally because it's more than just a sort of academic interest. It's actually meeting people who suffered and who are now finding a new perspective to the world. Mark and I developed the journal in all the small little coffee shops around Oxford, and the Missing Bean was definitely the place we kept on coming back to, and the place we actually started the journal de facto. Having the Oxford name on the cover of the journal definitely helped us a lot with the project, because it meant that people who found out about the project took it to be much more credible than they would have probably taken a standard undergraduate journal, and that definitely helped. It also meant for Mark and I that we wouldn't have started the journal, I guess, without the support of Oxford University in the first place. I came to Oxford thinking that it'd be super academic and there wouldn't be much social life going on, but actually discovered that it's basically, a huge part of the Oxford life. Every college has its own JCR and college bar attached, which means you get subsidized drinks, which is great because Oxford is insanely expensive. And the other thing is the JCR is a spot to just hang out and meet people from the undergraduate community. So it's just great because you get to chat to people and talk about life at uni, and there are no senior tutors around, so it's kind of very intimate. But everything social sort of starts within the college, means that social life is completely different here than it is back home, where you know people from maybe school or neighborhoods. So that makes Oxford's social life completely different. But at the same time, if you're in a very small college like me, you tend to be out much quicker, so you leave the nest much more. And again, it depends on which college you're at. After you finish your last exam, once you're done with your degree, basically, you walk out of examination schools in your whole fuss black tie outfit, a white tie actually, and you're trashed, which means people throw everything they can find at you, basically, from a shaving foam to confetti to, obscene things like food and anything. So you're just completely trashed and in a disgusting state. But then you jump into the river and it all kind of disappears and you're back sort of to normal life out of the uni experience. And then you have 2 weeks or 3 weeks remaining at Oxford in which loads of crazy things happen. You go punting, driving around on boats on the river. You go to sports, concerts, you go clubbing, and you go to balls, white tie balls. But so that's going to happen today for me, and that's how I'm going to end my time at Oxford. White tie means you have to wear a tailcoat, which looks like a penguin at first, but then you've got to wear a waistcoat as well. And where the name comes from, a white tie. So this one's one that I have to tie up, which will take me a good half an hour if I do it properly. These flowers are called carnations. It's a tradition at Oxford that you wear them to your exams. So you wear the white one on your first day of exams and the red one on the last day of exams. But I just think they look quite cool on a white tie outfit, so I'm just going to put one here and see how it works tonight at the ball. I've never been to a white tie ball before, so I'm not really sure what to expect, but I just hope I can meet people for the last time and say goodbye to a lot of people, but also sort of leave Oxford on a high note, on feeling like, yeah, this was a great time and this is how I want to conclude it. I hope you enjoyed this video, but if you want to find out more about the top universities of the world, subscribe to Crimson Education.